Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today, spawning in the northwest corner of the map playing in red, we've got beastyqt, going by the name Worm, playing as the Abbasid dynasty. And battling out against him today, spawning in the southeast in blue, we've got Anotand, playing as the Delhi Sultanate. Welcome everyone to Rocky River. As always, good morning, good afternoon, maybe a good evening. All depending when you're watching the game, of course, and I'm going to be having two of the very best players in Age of Empires 4 battling it out. And you know what? Anotand is currently the rank 1 player, but Beastie looking to chase that down. Of course, Anotand really making the most of a lot of players venturing over to Age of Mythology for a short term. But of course, all those players, not all of them, but the majority of them have come back. They're back to playing Age of Empires 4, and Beastie is one of them. Looking to challenge for that rank number 1 spot again, which I'm sure Anotand is not looking to give up too easily. Now, two incredibly strong civilizations being played today. The Delhi Sultanate with some really good buffs recently. The time it takes for their technologies to be researched has been markedly reduced for the Castle Age, and that's actually incredibly powerful because the Delhi Sultanate really were civilizations that really concentrated in the feudal age, and because of the lag time it took them to really make the most of Castle Age upgrades, their power spike to the Castle Age was relatively limited. Of course, you can make the premium units like the man-at-arms and the lancers, but to upgrade existing feudal age units was always a bit of a tricky situation for the Delhi. It just took a lot of time, but that's actually not so much of a problem anymore, because of course they get lots of scholars quite quickly from the Dome of the Faith, which is usually the landmark they go for right now, but also the times for research has been reduced. The Abbasid dynasty are a civilization that can actually focus on feudal age as well, but they really do prioritize the economy. The economic wing is the wing chosen here for Beastie. That's going to give them access to Fertile Crescent, which reduces the cost of economic building by 35%, and that really synergizes very nicely with the upgrade that they get from the mill. Fertile Crescent reduces the cost of those villagers by 35%. Now, those two upgrades synergize very well, allowing the Abbasid dynasty to play a second town center opening in the feudal age very commonly. They can also sometimes go for a bit of a cheeky fast castle with the culture wing. That's not going to be on show today, of course. We'll see exactly what Beastie has in mind going up against the Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi, whilst they have had some good power spikes, that does give them a nice timing on their castle age upgrades, they are still a civilization that do focus on the feudal age. And we'll see that in action today, no doubt about it. Expecting to see plenty of units nice and early for Anotand. So I hope you guys have all been enjoying the content on the channel recently. A very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed. If you've watched a couple of the games, you've been enjoying the casts. More importantly, make sure you've hit the notification bell. That's probably the most important thing to do, because that means when I do upload, which is probably once every 2 days, I think I will do it, you get a notification so you know when something's been uploaded. Now, the Abbasid dynasty, interestingly enough, he's actually not ventured out onto stone here, which is very curious. You kind of expect to see that happen as the Abbasids, but I don't know, maybe Beastie's not going for a second town center after all. A couple of sheep. He's spotting the villagers on gold. It's kind of curious, he's got the sheep there. I'm not sure he wants to move them too quickly in case they get snagged, but either way. Yeah, it's very curious actually that BC is not opting for a second town centre, because you usually expect to see that. And partially it might be because he's trying to match the Delhi unit output. The Delhi, as we've talked about, very, very focused on that feudal age. They pump out units very quickly as well. They do have an upgrade called Efficient Production, which has already been researched. What that allows is that it allows the scholars to garrison inside the production buildings, whether it be stables, barracks, or archery ranges, you name it. It allows the production speed to ramp up very quickly. So it's likely to produce quite quickly. Now, what that can often result in is a bit of a mismatch in terms of military numbers on the field, especially if you opt for a second town centre. Now, of course, the Bastards do 2 town centres very well, but still, a second town centre does delay military production, and whilst that the fresh foodstuffs does give a hefty discount on the food cost of the villagers, it's still a bit of extra food, of course, pumping into villages, which does take some time to pay back, and Beastie not allowing himself to give up the map control too easily, which is what the Delhi love to do, because they love to get on top of the sacred sites and get more passive gold that way. But yeah, really interesting strategy here from BC. Definitely something we're not commonly seeing. So one town centre play here for the Abbasids. Now he's going to be moving the sheep across back to the town centre. Quite a significant number of them as well, 16. You do get plenty of sheep on this map, Rocky River. So they're going to have food for quite some time. Now bear in mind that actually in some ways favours the Delhi. The reason why is because actually one of the bonuses for Fertile Crescent, the 35% reduction in the economic building cost, that affects farms as well. So we're actually toggled on Anatand's point of view, that's why it's 75 wood there, but if we change for a second, it will change the colours, don't mind me. That's 49 wood instead of the 75. So quite a significant savings, but of course with all this food on the map, with the sheep and the berries, that doesn't really become too important until the mid-game. That means the Delhi can get away with their bonuses in the feudal age, having a bit more of an emphasis on the match. It has added in a barracks with a scholar inside, so expecting to see some spearmen to go up against the double stable production of the Abbasids. Which is kind of something that maybe Beastie is kind of happy to see in a way. Sounds odd, right? You think you've got horsemen, you don't really want to see spearmen, do you? Well, in a way, but then the archery range does give the Abbasid dynasty a really nice unit to produce, and it is the camel archer. It does bonus damage against spearmen, which is fantastic, because of course it allows their horsemen now to have a bit more presence on the map. You snipe these spearmen with some good micro, and that's a lot of resources down the drain for the Delhi. They're not cheap, these guys. 60 food, 20 wood. Of course, there are more expensive units to be making, but with a ranged unit as the camel archer, it can be very powerful. Not to mention, they do have the camel unease ability, which reduces the damage output of the horsemen, or Ghazi raiders I should say in this regard, by a significant amount. But you can see just the unit numbers really ramping out for the Delhi. 18 military units versus 11. And he's already looking to get a sacred site. It's very difficult for the Abbasids to punish this. And you can imagine now, bear in mind, this is just with the Abbasid, the one town centre, right? Imagine if he went 2. The 10 progression wouldn't have been there. Second archery range as it happens. So looking to get those camel archers out quickly. Which they don't often happen. I mean, it takes 35 seconds. So it's a bit of a timing. You got to wait for them. Got to be patient about it. Speaking about being patient, Anotand is getting those walls up, so BC is going to have to be patient about denying the sacred site. So already got the second one in his belt as well. Really nice bit of gold trickle in for the Delhi. Now with so many mobile units, so many cavalry units, this game's going to be wild. It's going to be pretty hard to catch up at times, I imagine. I'm going to have to look at multiple areas on the map and be careful about missing things. And you can see there's the camel unease already being affected. Affecting these Ghazi raiders. 20% less damage. It builds up when you think about it. They've got a counter to spearmen and horsemen versus horsemen, or horsemen versus Ghazi raiders. Abbasids will work that really nicely with camel unease getting in the picture. Beastie just cycling around the back, looking to get some value, but nothing to be gathered too much there. Basically playing it relatively condensed economy. He doesn't want to be raided, and this is often seen actually by cavalry players and more importantly infantry players, to be fair, as it happens, although not so much relevant in this game. But before he moves out, he wants to make sure he's safe and secure. He's not going to get raided, and so he can focus his APM and his focus on the forward positions, and he has split his army into 2. But look at these palisade walls coming up for the Delhi. It means he's going to have really good control of these sacred sites for quite some time. Now, bear in mind, fresh foodstuffs has made these villages cheaper. It should technically allow Beastie to get more units quicker. But would you believe, look at the unit count, the military count looking really strong here for the Delhi. They do save quite a lot of wood in terms of production buildings when they can just garrison a scholar inside. Increase the efficiency of production. Spearmen are waiting. And I tend to be quite happy to have taken that fight if the camel archers weren't there, but they are there, and so BC should be able to push this away. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think it takes 4 camel archers to one-shot a spearman. Certainly 5 is enough. I don't think he's going to hold on to the sacred site for too long, Anotand. Looking to decap the one on the right side here, Beastie. Now, look at the resources. This is kind of crazy. Look at Anotand. He's actually going to go to the castle age. Going to go with the House of Learning. And it's so surprising to see, right? You usually see the Delhi playing an extended feudal age. It's actually the Abbasids doing it this time. But the Camel Archers are going to get some really good kills here, sniping those spearmen very quickly. And once that goes down, I think Beastie should be able to take the fight against these Ghazi Raiders. In fact, he takes the fight even with a couple of spearmen remaining, and that's a good cleanup. Now, these horsemen don't really stand a chance, or these Ghazi Raiders don't stand a chance with Camel knees being there. One scholar might be sniped as well. It's a good cleanup. But Delhi have got to be careful, right? They're taking up to the next stage. This is often when you're most vulnerable. I wouldn't be surprised to see Beastie just dive in a little bit. He doesn't have iron under mesh, which makes diving underneath the town centre a little bit more tricky. But he does have a large mass of units that he could potentially do so. The trouble is, he does need to decap the sacred site, so we will need to split off a couple of units, just a handful, just to decap them. But now with the castle age in play, can I likely to see some lancers? There they are, queued on up for the Delhi. It's actually starting to pick up some of the deer stacks as well. Of course, the Delhi get all their tech ups or the researchers for free. Not the tech ups, actually, but the researchers for free. So, you know, you might as well get this extra scouts and the deer camps if you can. Just delay that farming transition as much as possible. Speaking of which, that is starting to come online for the Abbasids. And it's a very smooth transition, so if the Delhi thought they were going to have a bit of a reprieve for, you know, the food running out for their opponent and it being hard to, you know, maintain that production, it's not really the case for the Abbasids with the farms being so cheap. You see Anotand just keep it. Oh, that scout's going to come back with 7 HP, and the great thing about the scouts, of course, they do replenish the health. Just trying to get the deer stacks as much as possible. It's actually quite important for Anotand to get as many of those as possible, because Beastie's going to be in the way to the castle age himself, and he's got a really nice, smooth farming transition. It's not as easy for the Delhi. The Delhi aren't on stone either, so can't expect to see any keeps anytime soon. Beastie going to go up to the castle age with the military wing. Very nice choice if you're thinking about infantry, but not so much with the cavalry play. So kind of curious decision, I gotta say, actually. We'll give him a couple of units, 2 camel riders, but yeah, curious one. Maybe he might be thinking about a switch into infantry somewhat, but I don't know. It feels like what he's doing is absolutely fine in terms of armor composition. So certainly surprising to see miniature wing being chosen. Culture wing possibly could have had a bit of a bounce on it with the preservation of knowledge, making the tech ups, the upgrades cheaper, and being able to get more of them quicker. He's probably going to snipe this skull, I'm afraid. This imam won't be making his way back for the Delhi. Down he goes. That's a lot of units, but bear in mind, you know, the Delhi are keeping up. Now with Iron Undermesh on the way, I wonder where the beast is going to look to dive that town centre. I can't imagine so, because, you know, the Delhi have been in the castle age for a while now. So it does have some of those premium units. It's really starting to get the production buildings up. It's going to be scary to play against as the Abbasids. The Lancers are already there just to hold the ground somewhat, but I'm not sure he really wants to keep making these, because Camel Archers will do well against them. The question is, what do you do here as the Delhi? What do you go as? Man-at-Arms partially countered by the Camel Archers pretty well, and yeah, it seems like a really hard army to go up against these the horsemen and the Camel Archers for sure. And there's that castle age now. Maybe it's time for the Delhi to actually engage, because, you know, of course, he's going to have to wait for those upgrades, Beastie. So it might be a good time for Anotand to fight if he can. But he's probably not going to be able to force this. He's going to split the army. Horsemen one way, Camel Archers another. Now, the movement speed on the Camel Archers isn't all that great. I think the Lancers should be able to challenge that. Should be able to chase them down. I mean, the Ghazi Raiders certainly can. Gets a good surround, and we'll get a couple of these Camel Archers, Wallow being used, and the horsemen will back away. Now, the faster tech up to the castle age has allowed the Delhi to get 2 of the relics so far, which is rather significant. I mean, we often expect the Delhi to get the relics, the lion's share of them anyway, because they have scholars on the map early, and, you know, they're usually just there waiting to pick them up when they do get to the castle age. Couple of Camel Archers, very low in health. He will get a couple nice pick-offs. Just going to want to see more of that Anotand, and that military number is really starting to escalate, 31 to 24. The army value looking great here for Anotand. Oh, horseman poking and proking. I mean, no stone in the bank yet for the Delhi, so no signs of a keep. I wonder if Beastie is thinking about a second town centre anytime soon. Of course, they are cheaper for him. Doesn't seem like anything's on the horizon just yet. Bit of an engagement, but not really committing to that there. Now it's going to fight off the horsemen, but you might be tempted to just push the villagers back on berries, but it'd be a bad idea, because Beastie is actually looking to push those villagers away, and rightly so, right? Because Anotand wants the food on the map. He doesn't want a farming transition. It will really hurt his tempo. Beastie trying to enforce that problem on him. Another scholar going to go down on the right side, and the sacred sites have been controlled now. Or at least decapped for Beastie. Going to go for the berries on the back, which Beastie's probably going to cycle towards now. I think this left side of the map is going to be a big part of the fight. A lot of free food up for grabs for the deli. Oh, this could be a lot of dead villagers. Horsemen riding on in. And he's going to pull the villagers away, but lancers are on hand here for Anotand. Thankfully for him, there's a lot of camels. Oh, this is going to be a bad fight. A couple of horsemen dying. Villagers will go back onto berries again. Beastie does pull away. But he loses a couple in the process. Oh, now Beastie having to move out to the middle of the map for the gold. This is where map control starts to become a bit significant. And yeah, the Delhi are starting to mine that stone. Quite heavily as well. 20 villagers. Yeah, expect to see some keeps on the field very soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see keep on this area. This is a lot of food, guys. This is exactly where Anotand will want to be, and Beastie knows it. The great thing with the economic wing is now we can get agriculture, so not only are the farms cheaper, but the gather rate increases too, by 15%. An incredibly strong farming civilization as it happens. Often we think of the English having really great farms, maybe the Byzantines with the olive oil that comes with their olive groves, but the Abbasid dynasty are no joke either in that regard. Beastie not too keen on pushing out just yet though as it happens, which it's going to be interesting to see who decides to place the second town centre first. I mean, ultimately, naturally for the Delhi, the keep will be acting as a second town centre anyway. It offers a lot of protection as well. Certainly this left side of the map, double gold vein. This is going to be seeing a lot of action on this side, you'd imagine. Although there is the 8,000 tile gold vein, which we will need to start seeing come into play somewhat, because the players are venturing out on the map. There's quite a bit of gold on this map, I gotta say, on Rocky River. There's that keep foundation, which Beastie's not spotting, only just missing out on that as it happens. But that's a large number of villagers building it, of course, so shouldn't be a problem. Speaking of problems, though, Beastie looking to give the Delhi a bit of a problem. I mean, how many scholars has he lost on this right side? I think it must have been a couple now. Anotand, a couple of villagers going down here in the south. But the Lancers will charge on in, kill a couple of these horsemen, nice pickoffs, but losing a couple of villagers Anotand is not ideal. Well, this could be a big engagement here. There's a lot of units. There's a couple of camel riders split off. Oh, he's going to take the fight. There are veteran archers from the Delhi with the Lancers, camels. I mean, the camels should be a direct counter. There's camel Arnis, of course. A good number of crossbows as well here for Beastie. It should be a decent fight, but there are a couple of spearmen coming from the back, and only 3 of them, but it's still significant on going directly on the camel riders. And in fact, you know what? The camel riders look to be melting a little bit. And the archer number's still surviving really heavily. He's trying to focus fire those crossbows down with his archers here, Anotand, and the camels are actually surprisingly melting. I kind of half expected Beastie to win that, but in the end, it turns out those spearmen had a really big impact, and the archers are working quite well for the Delhi. Kind of surprising to see it. I guess in a way it just shows actually kind of underwhelming how underwhelming these camel riders seem to be. Beastie loses that fight pretty badly in the end. Wasn't expecting it to be that way. One of the benefits of the Abbasids is they can build siege engines on the ground, as you can see in Mangonel being built as we speak. They'll do well against those archers. Now, of course, this is actually on the live version of Age of Empires 4, not on the public update preview for Season 9. In Season 9, there will be a lot of siege work changes, and so the Mangonels, the Manjanik, aren't going to be too strong. They've reduced the radius of damage of each boulder, and, I mean, to be honest with you, the archers can take them out now in mass numbers, so this is not going to be necessarily a play for the Abbasids as it has been in the past. In the future, I think in Season 9, it's really going to change things for the Abbasids. And the Mongols, as it happens. A couple of lancers wrapping around for the Abbasids. But, oh god, this keep does so much damage. Of course, it's fully garrisoned. This is another lancer. Probably not too terrible there for the Delhi, I've got to say. Now we are starting to see the farming transition for the Delhi, which is going to be important that he stays alive whilst that happens. Bear in mind though, the second keep, or the first keep actually acts as a second town centre essentially. Speaking of second town centres, take a look. Beastie, he's adding his. Oh, not again. A single lancer. I love the way that Beastie's really punishing the pocket economies. The exposed berry bushes. It's putting it... Yeah, it's going to lose that lancer. Oh, managed to get out of there in the end, just about. This interesting play. Beastie's just trying to keep an eye on the deer camps, the deer carcasses, trying to make sure that Delhi have to fight for every bit of food on the map. There's that village fortress's upgrade. Only just going to come in now. So technically Beastie got a second town centre quicker. He is leading in the village count, but look at the military count for the Delhi. It's looking really good. Of course, 5 relics in play for the Delhi. It's incredibly powerful. Plenty of gold resources coming in for him. Sexite being challenged on the right side once again. Looks like Beastie going to be starting to wall up, looking to play the late game. Now the Abbasid dynasty do actually have a very strong late game as it happens. And there's a third town centre. Now the late game for the Abbasids is relatively strong because of the House of Wisdom and the Golden Age. Tier 3 works out really well for them. Get the research speeds, but also the production speeds increased by 20%. It's really about the production speed, I feel. Can really ramp up in the Imperial Age and Golden Age Tier 3. When we speak about late game though, the Delhi themselves, they are not half bad. Elephants is what I'll say. We'll see if we'll see them today for the Delhi. Very population efficient. They also do trample damage, the war elephants, increase trample damage, and that could be devastating. We'll see if that's what Anotand decides to do. He's behind on economy, but very far ahead in military numbers. I wonder if he's going to start pushing on out. He's got a couple of keeps. He's got another one back at home. What that allows Anotand to then do is to push out with the military quite safely, right? Because the one thing you're worried about moving forward with cavalry units, and also up against enemies with cavalry units with high mobility, is you're worried about being raided to death, right? But keeps obviously help and go a long way to stop that happening. No walls yet in the immediate vicinity of the primary base for the Delhi. I'm going to wall up Beastie's side of the map though. He's trying to stop trade, which is actually quite a nice idea. Trade does become increasingly important in the late game. Don't necessarily think that we're there yet, especially with the 8,000 gold veins there, but he's getting prepared. He's making sure that nothing happens on the trade side of things with Beastie. 2 mangonels could be difficult for the Delhi to deal with. And yet another scholar. It's got to be what, 4 or 5 of them now? That wood line pretty exposed, but they keep, offering a lot of protection. Ultimately, at this point, I don't think Anotand actually minds. I mean, of course, you're going to mind losing villagers, but it's not devastating anymore. Not when there are 2 keeps and a town centre all producing villagers. These ones pretty exposed, though. There's no keep protecting these ones. You have to be careful about this. Where's the army? That's what I want to know. They're chilling. He's got a war elephant prepping himself to get going. It feels like he must have textiles, right? He does indeed. But of course, with 3 town centres, the Abbasid are doing pretty well to keep on up with the villager count. Are these stone walls? Holy moly, they are stone walls. Yeah, Beastie certainly look to play the late game now. There's a couple of stray archers. Beastie's floating a lot of food. It's courtesy of the agriculture, right? It's just so strong as a farming economy here for the Abbasids. It's quite heavy on gold as well. Mangonels deployed. Just kind of get the lay of the lands here, Anotand. Oh wait, he might snap these mangonels. They're pretty exposed. 3 springolds. Oh, but look at the cavalry play coming in for Beastie. I mean, he might get 1 mangonel. He doesn't. He's going to lose a springold here for sure, right? Well, he does just lost just 1 though, just 1. So should still be able to one-shot the mangonels if he gets close enough, but that's a big if, peeling off a couple of cavalry units by Beastie. Making sure that he can catch the springolds if they're caught off guard. That's a lot of spearmen chasing on down. He did use forced march there. Allows the infantry to move a lot quicker for 10 seconds. Mangonel deploys. He might lose 1 mangonel. Oh, he's going to get away with that, I think, in the end. We shall see. Cavalry down the south, looking to raid there for Beastie, but it doesn't look like he's going to get too much value. That's a massive choke point. Those Mangonels might turn and fight, and they possibly should, but there are 2 Springhalls there, to be fair, for Anotand, so Beastie's not thinking about it. He does lose 1 Springhall in the end. Could potentially lose a second, which would then allow Anotand to take this fight quite safely. Spearman brace, and that's a good number of ranged units behind. I'm not so sure this from Beastie. 100 military units for Anotand. This is looking pretty good. He's got a couple of Springhalls coming on of his own here. Will lose 1 though, doesn't get the shot off, and the War Elephant pushing forward. This is looking great here for Anotand. He's got scope to do some damage, but he might need some siege to do some good structural damage. Killing villagers probably won't be enough, considering there are 3 town centres in play for the Abbasids. Going to take out the most of the military first. Man-at-Arms tanking that front line. Good number of crossbows, a handful of archers, and even an elephant there behind. And these camels can't get close enough. All the horsemen might try and get on top of the Springhalls, and I think he will. He'll pick off 1 at least. He might get the second. It might be a bit dicey. I think he doesn't quite manage it. I think it just about hides, but you know what? The ranged units might just snipe it in the end. In fact, the horsemen do get it in the end. It's a nice pick-off. All around the back, these villagers, they're getting raided. Beastie, good pick-off. Anotand is just going right down the middle. He's going to sacrifice a couple of units doing this, but he doesn't necessarily mind. Is that population cap nearly anyway? Behind all of this, I think Anotand might be thinking about the Imperial Age. He can almost afford it. He's almost there. Anotand just backing away for now. Oh, War Elephant. He got stuck there. Of course, the slow movement speed is probably gonna die anyway, but gonna make the most of it. We'll get a villager kill at least. Well, let's see how much trample damage is done here. This doesn't seem all that much, actually, as it happens. To be fair, we didn't get to test it out for too long. Died pretty quickly. But yeah, Beastie getting access to this 8,000 gold vein is pretty... Well, when did this happen? This outpost. It's actually clutch here for Anotand. It's going to force Beastie to try and take that down. Especially with the emplacements coming on the way. Alright, it will be the Hisar Academy for the Delhi. Going up to that Imperial Age. And what that allows them to do is gets basically the same as the university. Gives them a madrasa, but also generates 12 food per minute based on the number of technologies that is researched. Also gets 3 free scholars. It's going to be the trade wing for the Abbasids. Kind of understand, right? Because I think really at this stage of the game, culture wing doesn't really add all that much more value. And of course, cheaper technologies is great. I mean, healing is probably okay. Maybe villager health does help you get stopped from being raided, but of course, late game, super late game, it's got to be about gold and trade. I still don't think we're that close to it, because I think Rocky River does have a lot of gold on the map. So still plenty more gold up for grabs. Another Scot. I've lost count. I've lost count about this right-sided sacred site. Beastie, he's been on top of that for a long time. Alright, Siege Workshop coming up on the west side. Maybe he's looking to pressure... Oh yeah, he's looking to pressurize this west wall. Look at this. A couple of units and a ram, I think. Anotand trying to get a keep there as well to deny the 8,000 gold vein. That's important. If you can get that done, it'd be pretty powerful. He's obviously got the keeps at home to defend with as well, which is definitely something he would love to get more of, especially on this right side, I would have thought. That's 8,000 gold vein. Oh, there's a good few spearmen though, thankfully, protecting it this time. The walls have been breached, and it's going to stop Beastie from re-walling. Ram was out to take out the outpost, but I think Beastie, I don't know if he should have enough to put this off, right? Unless there's reinforcements. Yep, there are reinforcements. Anotand coming on in. Oh, there's going to be a lot of villages being lost. This is a bit rough here, but does allow population space for military as well. Unfortunately, they're not actually torching the ram, would you believe? That's something that he could have been doing. But with a couple of man-at-arms... Oh, the villagers are now torching. There we go. Takes out the outpost and should start building there sooner rather than later. And this is the issue, right? The eco is so well protected by those keeps, and the gold being denied here is actually a bit of a problem. He's got a bit of a bank of it though, Beastie, so it could be okay. But look at the military numbers. He's really struggling. He's going to get a panic keep up. Whether that goes up or not, I'm not too sure. I mean, Anotand should be able to spot it. He's going to take out villagers first. And you know what? Beastie's starting to lose quite a few villagers. He's trying to get the trade up, but it's going to be hampered by the walls on the right side. Now, the keep probably will go up in the end, it seems. Down in the middle, he's putting a bit of pressure. A couple of units sprinkled on in, but you know what? It's just a really big tale about the military units. The Delhi do this so well. They swarm in the feudal age, and apparently they swarm in the Imperial age as well. I don't think that market is going to last too much longer. The keep will buy him some time. But there was a siege workshop, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a bombard or two queued up, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Once that gets on the field, it's going to be hard to stop. And Anotand really starting to pump out those units. But I think he's just trying to go around, right? He's just probably going to ignore the keep, to be fair. The keep will protect quite a handful of farms. But that might not stop Anotand when he's at full population capacity. He might as well send the army. Send everything he's got. He's looking to wall up that Raya side. And yeah, Beasty's going to have to deny that. Walling up if he wants to establish trade, but he's got a bigger problem on his hands. He's losing villages here quite significantly. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. beastyqt taps out a cracking game of Age of Empires 4. Of course, the Imperial Age, it's been incredibly strong for the Delhi, and, you know, rank 1 is still with Anotand. A cracking game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.